Hi, I'm Angela Ryder. Thanks for joining me. I wanted to talk about the spicy weather that we're having right now with all of this Aries energy and planets. So, if you've been feeling more reactive, activated, and agitated, or like things are coming up faster than usual, Aries energy may be lighting things up. There are 7 celestial bodies in Aries right now, including the sun and the moon with that new moon. So there's a strong current of planetary energy activating anger in the collective. And while there is a lot to be angry about right now, I want to talk about how our personal anger is being activated too. The new moon in Aries is going to bring up initiating points. So what's coming up right now is probably going to feel and look a lot like endings and beginnings. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And it can be really good for clearing away the old and creating space for the new. But with all the Marsy and fiery Aries energy, there's a potential to want to react, flame up, and sort of cut and burn everything down. What I'm seeing in client sessions is conditioning and trauma, anger patterns that are coming up. They're part of mental loops or energetic constructs. And when these get activated or triggered, they can quickly override your intuitive guidance and the compassionate, supportive choices we make for ourselves. So a lot of these patterns I see are from anger that's carried with us as part of our inner history. Everything that we haven't processed, that we've been upset about or angry about, what we haven't acknowledged or resolved, and also the anger that's not completely ours, but comes through our family patterns and trauma, our past life imprints, and what we've absorbed and held for others, like little hoovers, just trying to maintain others' anger. So this kind of anger can cloud our ability to clearly detect and trust our intuitive guidance, because when it becomes loud, inner noise and turbulence, it can drown out the more subtle signals that are trying to come through. And with Neptune also active in Aries, that line between intuition and emotional overwhelm can feel even more blurred. So it's even more important to stay grounded in your body, give yourself pause for your own awareness to come through, and be able to make choices when you're less reactive. So lately I've been seeing anger come up across different client sessions who have very different lives and circumstances, but there's an underlying thread and message that keeps coming through the spirit teams, which is anger is information. And it can point to a boundary that's been crossed, a place where you felt powerless, grief that didn't have a place to move or a way to be processed, or a pattern that's still active and it's asking for your attention. So there's all this intensity right now around Aries themes, and they may deal with identity, who we think we are or what we thought we were, who we would like to be, who we no longer want to be, our autonomy, what choices are we making on our own volition, and how we want to make these and the way we want to make these, old wounding and how we weren't defended or protected, or we abandoned ourselves or others abandoned us. These are all wrapped up in there. So these are being activated in ways that can feel sudden and flare up, but also cumulative, like everything that's been in there is coming up at once, and everything you've been holding on to and holding back is like it's ready to explode. So if it's anger that's coming up, and it's not just like Aries' eagerness to change, if that's coming up, it's probably a signal that all of that thing that's been festering in there, it's something deeper that's being brought to the surface, and in a way that can't be clouded over or suppressed anymore with all of this Aries energy. So there can be a strong impulse to act or react or move quickly, which is why having a way to work with that anger and be aware of it becomes even more important. And to be clear, anger is not something you should suppress, but it's also something you don't want running or undermining or blowing up your life. So we want to listen to what it's trying to show you. Because underneath the anger, there's usually a deeper truth about what's happening, what feels unjust, what's been lost, what has come up that's no longer sustainable in your life, and what really needs to change. Let that anger inform you. It's important to have that information, especially if you're trying to move in alignment with your intuition instead of overriding it and suppressing it and letting anger take over. So investigate your anger, because not all of it needs immediate action. And this is where, if you pre-create a processing structure, it becomes helpful, not as to contain your anger, to hold it back, but as a space that you've created to work with your anger. And since Saturn is also in Aries right now, we think of Saturn as a container, a structure. It gives strategies and plans to help you provide stability and sustainability for your choices in your life. Think of Saturn as giving you a pause to see what's actually being shown to you. So instead of reacting, you choose a response that doesn't take you down with it. And we don't want to suppress, because suppressed anger doesn't disappear. It can turn into exhaustion, confusion, and burnout, or be the knots of never-ending tension held in your body. So you don't want to contain it or suppress it. And also anger, which is just allowed to run amok, the uncontained anger, can also cause you to blow up and burn through things you didn't intend to destroy. I mean, sometimes that's how we get to the new thing, is just destroy everything and just start fresh, or just create a completely new field of action. But if you have things in your life that are working, this is just a way to create a space so that you can work with anger, understand what it's showing you, and help you see where it's been influencing your patterns, the choices that you're making, and your intuitive clarity, so that you don't blow everything up and you can choose from a place of informed consent. So this is just a starting point, especially in this energetically active time. There's just like 3 simple ways. Name what's there before it peaks. So not when you're already angry and activated, but before any of that might happen. Notice what inner anger is already in there percolating and has your attention, and what you sense is building, and name it. Because when you are aware and create a point of choice, from giving yourself space instead of reacting, you stay connected to your intuition rather than being pulled into the emotion and taking everybody out with you. And how you work with this energy right now does affect the way that you make your choices. And so you can have this anger inform you to shape what endings need to happen and what new beginnings might look like for you. Okay, second one, just create a pause as your default response. It may or may not work, but kind of having that as a practice default to give yourself pause when you've been triggered, whether it's taking a few breaths, counting to 10, walking away, or going for a walk. It just gives you an opportunity to pause and respond to what you would really like to address, instead of reacting in a way that overrides your clarity and getting more of what you would like, instead of creating mess of overreacting. And then this third option is, if you are angry, come back to it when you have the capacity. Return to your anger when you have the space to actually be with it, so you can follow the thread and understand what it's showing you, and allowing it to inform your next steps rather than acting in the moment. And I also wanted to mention it is important to recognize that not everyone processes anger in the same way because of your nervous system, your experiences, how you're wired. They all shape how emotion moves through you. And for some people, that work is creating or taking space. For others, it's building those built-in structures of being able to have a pattern of stepping back. And sometimes it's even learning how to recognize you're angry. And there isn't one right way to do this. These are just options of taking a look how anger may be coming up or building within you, how it can be a pattern that's already there and might be triggered. And if you are working with deeper layers of such as trauma, grief, abuse, it's also important to seek support or therapeutic spaces that can help you there. Not so you can bypass, but they will have the capacity and ability to hold the full complexity of what you're going through. My work can also be a support to help you understand what the energetic constructs are that are being activated and what the patterns may be showing up that affect your intuitive guidance. But as always, you're the one who decides what to do with that information and what kind of support is right for you. And a message I want to leave you with, or something to consider, is anger can destroy, but it can also illuminate. And sometimes it's showing you exactly where something in your life is ready to change. And I'm here also if you need support. And if this is something you're moving through right now, my sessions can offer insight, context, and the energetic support around what's being activated and why. And you don't have to sort through it on your own. You could learn more or schedule a session at angelaryder.com. Thank you.